The onslaught. The skies above Nova Haven shimmered with the familiar blue-green tint that had made the planet famous throughout human space. Terraforming had been extraordinarily successful here, creating a paradise that rivaled Earth itself. The colony had flourished over its 20-year existence, expanding from a simple outpost to a thriving community of nearly 30,000 souls. Dr. Maya Patel stood on her balcony overlooking Nova Haven's central plaza, watching children play among the fountains while merchants hawked their wares in the market square. As the colony's chief scientist, she had helped design much of the infrastructure that made life possible on this world. The artificial weather system, the genetically engineered crops that grew in the rich soil, the water purification network, all bore her touch. "Another beautiful day," remarked her husband, David, as he joined her with 2 steaming cups of coffee. "Hard to believe we almost turned down this assignment." Maya smiled, taking the offered cup. "Best decision we ever made. The kids have thrived here." In the distance, beyond the colony's perimeter, the purple forests of native vegetation swayed in the gentle breeze. Nova Haven existed in careful balance with the indigenous ecosystem. Humans had learned from past mistakes and now emphasized coexistence rather than dominance. Maya's communicator chirped, interrupting the peaceful moment. "Dr. Patel, sorry to disturb you," came the voice of her assistant, "but we're detecting some unusual readings from the orbital sensors." "What kind of readings?" "Unknown signatures approaching from the outer system. They don't match any registered human vessels." Maya's brow furrowed. "I'll be right there." By the time she reached the colony's operations center, the situation had escalated dramatically. The large holographic display at the center of the room showed multiple objects decelerating from near light speed, their trajectory bringing them directly toward Nova Haven. "How many?" Maya asked the sensor operator. 27 large vessels, Mom, and hundreds of smaller craft." Captain Eliza Novak, head of Nova Haven's modest security force, turned to Maya with concern etched on her face. "We've sent standard greetings on all frequencies. No response." Maya's heart sank. Humanity had encountered only 3 other spacefaring species in its expansion to the stars, and all contacts had been peaceful, if somewhat reserved. This silence was troubling. "Alert all personnel," Novak ordered. "Activate the defense grid and prepare evacuation protocols." "Should we contact Earth?" Maya asked. "Already done," Novak replied grimly. "But they're 3 weeks away at best." The first impact came without warning, a blinding flash of light followed by a shockwave that rattled the operations center. The holographic display flickered before stabilizing to show that one of the colony's communications arrays had been obliterated. "They're attacking without provocation," Novak shouted. "Battle stations. This is not a drill." Nova Haven's defenses had been designed primarily to deal with pirates or the occasional aggressive local wildlife. The colony's 3 defense platforms began firing at the approaching vessels, but their weapons seemed ineffective against the alien shields. "We need to evacuate the civilians," Maya insisted, thoughts racing to her family. "Agreed," Novak said. "Initiate protocol exodus." Throughout the colony, sirens wailed as the emergency broadcast system directed citizens to designated shelters. Maya tried contacting David but received no response. Communications were already failing across the grid. The attacking fleet, now visible to the naked eye as dark shapes descending through the atmosphere, deployed smaller craft that streaked toward the colony like predatory birds. Their design was unlike anything humans had ever encountered, organic-looking vessels with shifting, flowing surfaces that seemed almost alive. Commander Elena Reyes, newly arrived from Earth just 3 months prior to bolster the colony's security forces, burst into the operations center. "Captain Novak, we need to deploy the emergency countermeasures," she announced, her voice steady despite the chaos. "The experimental ones?" Novak asked, surprise evident in her tone. "They haven't been properly tested." "We're out of options," Reyes replied, her dark eyes reflecting the emergency lights flashing throughout the center. Those ships are using technology far beyond our current understanding. Maya watched as another explosion rocked the colony's perimeter. "Do it," she said, pulling rank as the senior colonial administrator present. "Whatever it takes." Commander Reyes nodded and activated her secure communication device. "This is Commander Reyes. Authorization Zulu 9er, Echo 6. Deploy Neonesis." Throughout the colony, hidden compartments in seemingly ordinary buildings slid open, revealing advanced weapon systems that had been secretly installed by Earth's military as a precaution. These weren't the conventional defenses most colonies possessed, but cutting-edge prototypes utilizing technology reverse-engineered from artifacts discovered on distant worlds. The Nemesis system, neutrino-enhanced modular emergency suppression and interdiction system, represented humanity's ace in the hole, a defensive capability kept secret even from most colonial administrators. The alien vessels, perhaps sensing the new threat, concentrated their fire on the emerging weapons platforms. One Nemesis unit was destroyed before it could activate, exploding in a cascade of blue energy that vaporized an entire residential block. "Get those civilians to the underground shelters," Ray shouted as she monitored the deployment. "We can't hold them off forever." The remaining Nemesis platforms locked onto the alien vessels and fired brilliant beams of coherent energy that sliced through several of the smaller craft. For a moment, it seemed the tide might turn. The alien advance slowed as they adjusted their tactics to deal with the unexpected resistance. Maya used the brief respite to access a terminal and search for her family among the evacuation records. To her relief, she found them checked in at Shelter B7, deep beneath the colony's main administrative building. "They've adapted," the sensor operator announced with dread in his voice. "They're changing their shield frequencies." As quickly as it had appeared, humanity's advantage vanished. The alien vessels adjusted their defenses, and the Nemesis beams dissipated harmlessly against their hulls. The counterattack was swift and devastating. Precision strikes targeted each Nemesis platform, destroying them one by one. "We need to get to the command bunker," Reyes urged, helping Captain Novak, who had been injured by falling debris. "We can coordinate better from there." As they evacuated the operations center, Maya caught a glimpse of the colony through the viewport. Buildings were burning, the carefully cultivated parks reduced to ash, and the beautiful central plaza where children had played just hours before was now a smoldering crater. The command bunker, located 100 meters beneath the colony's main power plant, buzzed with grim activity as the remaining security personnel coordinated what resistance they could muster. Medical staff treated the wounded while communication specialists tried desperately to maintain contact with the scattered defense forces. "What do they want?" Maya asked no one in particular as she helped tend to a wounded colonist. "Why attack us without even attempting communication?" Commander Reyes, hunched over a tactical display, looked up with a grim expression. "I don't think this is about resources or territory. Look at their attack pattern." Maya joined her at the display. The alien forces weren't simply bombarding the colony from orbit, which would have been more efficient. Instead, they were landing troops, methodically sweeping through sectors of the colony, and appearing to collect something from specific locations. "They're after our database centers," Maya realized with growing horror. "Our research archives." Nova Haven had been established partly as a scientific outpost, housing some of humanity's most advanced research on xenobiology, planetary adaptation, and theoretical physics. The colony's databases contained knowledge that had taken centuries to accumulate. "It's not just a raid," Reyes concluded. "It's theft. They want our scientific knowledge." Captain Novak, her arm in a makeshift sling, joined them. "Can we purge the databases remotely?" "Some of them," Maya confirmed, "but the main archive has physical backups that would need to be destroyed manually." "Where?" Reyes demanded. "Section D, Level 3 of the research complex." Reyes checked her weapon. a standard-issue particle rifle that seemed woefully inadequate against the technology they were facing. "I'll go." "Not alone," Maya insisted. "You'll need my access codes." "Doctor, you're a scientist, not a soldier. And that complex is my life's work. I'm coming with you." Before Reyes could argue further, the bunker shook violently. Dust rained from the ceiling as warning klaxons blared. "They found us," Novak said, her voice barely audible over the alarms. "They're drilling down." Reyes made a quick decision. "Dr. Patel and I will head for the research complex. Captain, you need to hold this position as long as possible and get that distress signal boosted. Make sure Earth knows exactly what happened here." Novak nodded grimly. "When you reach the complex, activate your emergency beacon. If we can break through their jamming, we'll send a rescue team." The journey to the research complex was a nightmarish gauntlet through the ruins of what had once been a thriving colony. Maya and Commander Reyes moved from shadow to shadow, avoiding the alien patrols that now controlled the streets. The invaders were bipedal but clearly not human. Tall, lean figures encased in armor that shifted and flowed like liquid metal, concealing whatever lay beneath. "They move like they know exactly where they're going," Maya whispered as they watched a patrol methodically search a residential building. "They'd probably downloaded the colony schematics during their first strike," Reyes replied. "Stay low." They reached the research complex to find its main entrance guarded by 3 alien figures. Their helmets featured no visible eye slits or breathing apparatus, just a smooth, reflective surface that rippled occasionally with faint patterns of light. "Back entrance," Maya suggested, leading Reyes through a maintenance corridor that connected to the geothermal regulation system. Inside the complex, emergency lighting cast eerie shadows across abandoned laboratories. Evidence of a hasty evacuation was everywhere, equipment left running, personal belongings scattered, half-finished cups of coffee gone cold. "This way," Maya directed, leading them toward the central database hub. "Level 3 is 2 floors down." As they descended, they encountered the first signs of the aliens' purpose. Several creatures were systematically removing data storage modules from the secondary archives, carefully placing them in containers that hummed with strange energy. "They're not just copying the data," Maya realized. "They're taking the physical storage units." Reyes pulled Maya back before they could be spotted. "Is there another way to the main archive?" "The maintenance shaft. It's narrow, but it will get us there." They crawled through claustrophobic tunnels designed for service droids, emerging finally into the heart of Nova Haven's knowledge repository. The main archive. The circular room housed thousands of crystalline data cores, each containing petabytes of humanity's most advanced research. "We need to hurry," Maya said, moving to the central control console. "They'll be here soon." As she entered her access codes, the system responded with a series of warnings. "The self-destruct requires 2 senior authorization codes. Mine alone isn't enough. Use this." Reyes handed her a small device bearing Earth military insignia. "Emergency override. It should work." Maya connected the device, and the system immediately recognized the authority. Purge sequence initiated. 10 minutes until complete data destruction. The doors to the archive hissed open. 4 alien figures stood in the entrance, weapons raised. Behind them stood a 5th, taller than the others, and bearing elaborate markings on its armor. Reyes didn't hesitate. She fired her particle rifle, the beam striking one alien squarely in the chest. To her shock, the beam seemed to be absorbed by the creature's armor, which briefly glowed before returning to normal. The aliens responded with their own weapons, not energy beams, but some kind of projectile that expanded in midair into a glowing net of energy. Reyes dodged the first, but the second caught her, enveloping her in crackling energy that brought her to her knees. Maya ducked behind the console as alien fire peppered her position. The purge countdown continued, 8 minutes remaining. The taller alien approached Reyes, who struggled against her energy restraints. With a gesture that seemed almost casual, it reached down and touched her forehead. Rais screamed, her back arching in agony. Maya watched in horror as something passed between them, a connection of some kind. When it ended, Rais collapsed, unconscious but still breathing. The tall alien turned toward Maya's hiding place and spoke, not in words, but directly into her mind. The thoughts alien and uncomfortable in her consciousness. Your knowledge will serve a greater purpose. Resistance is unnecessary and inefficient. Why are you doing this? Maya demanded, her voice shaking. We've done nothing to you. Your species advances too quickly. The pattern must be preserved. The balance maintained. The alien gestured, and two of its subordinates moved toward the central console, clearly intending to stop the data purge. 6 minutes remained. In that moment, Maya made her decision. She pulled the emergency override device from the console and smashed it against the floor, destroying it beyond repair. Now the purge couldn't be stopped, even with her codes. This knowledge belongs to humanity, she declared. We earned it through centuries of work and sacrifice. You have no right to take it. The tall alien seemed to study her for a moment. Your defiance is noted, but ultimately meaningless. What we cannot take from this colony, we will find elsewhere. Humanity's advancement will be controlled, as all species must be. A violent explosion rocked the archive as Captain Novik led what remained of Nova Haven's security forces in a desperate counterattack. The distraction gave Maya the chance to drive the semi-conscious Rais toward an emergency evacuation tube. Hold on, Commander, she urged as she activated the tube systems. As they began their escape, Maya caught one last glimpse of the main archive. The alien leader stood amid the chaos, its featureless helmet turned toward the data cores that were systematically wiping themselves clean. In her mind, she felt rather than heard its final message. This victory is temporary. We will return. The evacuation tube deposited them in a maintenance tunnel a kilometer from the research complex. Rais was finally regaining consciousness, her eyes unfocused but alert. They were in my mind, she whispered. They call themselves the Voidborn. They believe they're the guardians of galactic evolution. They think we're developing too quickly, that will upset some cosmic balance. Maya helped her to her feet. Can you walk? We need to reach the emergency transmitter at the agricultural outpost. Together they limped through the ruins of Nova Haven, bearing witness to the systematic destruction of humanity's most distant colony. The Voidborn ships were already beginning to withdraw, having taken what they could and destroyed what they couldn't. At the agricultural outpost, they found a functioning quantum entanglement communicator. Technology so new that even the Voidborn hadn't recognized its importance. With trembling hands, Maya activated it, establishing a direct and instantaneous link to Earth despite the vast distance. This is Dr. Maya Patel of Nova Haven Colony, she began, her voice growing stronger with each word. We have been attacked by an alien species calling themselves the Voidborn. They came without warning, without provocation. They sought our knowledge, our research, our advancement as a species. They believe they have the right to control our development. She paused, looking at Reyes, who nodded encouragingly. Nova Haven has fallen, but we denied them what they came for, and now we send this warning. Earth must prepare. The Voidborn will come again, believing themselves to be our superiors, our controllers. They do not yet understand what they have done. Maya's voice hardened, filled with a determination born from witnessing the destruction of her home. They have not met humanity at war. They attacked a peaceful colony of scientists and farmers. Now they will face the full response of Earth. They believe they came to humble us. Instead, they have awakened us. As she transmitted the final details of the Voidborn's technology and tactics, Maya watched the last of the alien ships vanish into the upper atmosphere. They had won this battle, but in doing so, they had made a fatal error. They had given humanity a reason to unite, to focus its considerable ingenuity and determination on a single purpose. The Voidborn had come to Nova Haven to prevent humanity's advance. They would soon learn they had only accelerated it. Earth will be ready. Commander Reyes said softly, watching the distant ships disappear. And when we meet again, they'll learn what humanity is truly capable of. The quantum communicator confirmed receipt of their message. 3 weeks away by conventional travel, but instantaneously by quantum entanglement, Earth now knew what had happened, and Earth would respond. The first chapter in humanity's greatest war had begun. Reckoning. The message from Nova Haven reached Earth during a routine session of the United Terran Council. The quantum entanglement transmission interrupted the proceedings with its highest priority designation, and the chamber fell silent as Dr. Maya Patel's haggard face appeared on the central display. Admiral Marcus Chen sat motionless as the recording played, his weathered features betraying no emotion as he absorbed every detail of the Voidborn attack. As head of the Terran Defense Fleet, he had spent decades preparing for a moment he hoped would never come: humanity's first interstellar war. When the transmission ended, the council chamber erupted in a cacophony of voices: fear, outrage, confusion, all predictable reactions to unprecedented catastrophe. Chen remained silent, his mind already calculating, planning, preparing. Admiral Chen. The council chairperson's voice cut through the chaos. Your assessment? Chen stood, his tall frame commanding immediate attention. At 63, he had the bearing of a man who had witnessed humanity's expansion among the stars firsthand, having commanded exploration vessels before rising through the military ranks. Nova Haven is lost, he stated bluntly. But its people have given us something invaluable. Advance warning. The Voidborn believe they've struck a decisive blow against an unprepared species. They're wrong. He gestured, and a holographic display illuminated above the council table, showing technical schematics that few in the room could comprehend. Project Prometheus was initiated 15 years ago as a contingency for exactly this scenario. While we hoped for peaceful contact with advanced species, we prepared for hostile encounters. The Prometheus fleet is ready for deployment. Councillor Takahashi leaned forward. The Prometheus fleet? I've never heard of it. That was intentional, Chen replied. After the Nova incident of 2172, when we discovered the first evidence of potentially hostile alien technology, certain projects were classified beyond standard council oversight. That's a violation of the Transparency Acts, Takahashi protested. A necessary one, countered Chen. The Prometheus vessels incorporate technologies that required absolute secrecy during development. The chairperson studied Chen with narrowed eyes. What kinds of technologies, Admiral? The kind that will give us a fighting chance against the Voidborn. Chen's voice was steady. Based on Dr. Patel's data, the enemy possesses advancement in several key areas: energy shielding, faster than light travel, and weapons systems we've theorized but never fully developed. But they have weaknesses. Their tactical approach shows arrogance, a belief in their technological superiority that we can exploit. He manipulated the holographic display, showing a fleet of vessels unlike any humanity had publicly acknowledged possessing, sleek ships with configurations that seemed to defy conventional engineering principles. The Prometheus fleet consists of 12 capital ships and 36 support vessels. They incorporate adaptive shield technology, advanced AI tactical systems, and weapons specifically designed to counter threats like the Voidborn. How soon can they reach Nova Haven? The chairperson asked. 3 days, Chen replied, earning gasps from several council members. That's impossible, Councillor Equency stated. Even our fastest ships would take weeks. Chen's expression remained impassive. Conventional ships, yes. The Prometheus fleet utilizes displacement drive technology. It doesn't move through space. It moves space itself. The revelation silenced the council chamber. Theoretical physics had suggested such technology might be possible, but most believed it remained decades away from practical application. You've been hiding this, Takahashi said, voice low with anger. While colonies struggled with outdated equipment and vulnerable defenses, you were building super ships. I was building humanity's survival, Chen corrected. "And now, we'll prove its worth." The council debate raged for hours, but the decision was ultimately inevitable. The Prometheus fleet would deploy immediately, with Admiral Chen commanding personally. His orders were clear: assess the situation at Nova Haven, render aid to any survivors, and gather intelligence on the Voidborn threat. His unspoken mandate was equally clear: show the Voidborn precisely whom they had challenged. The TDF Olympus, flagship of the Prometheus fleet, broke the light barrier in a way no human vessel had done before. Instead of the traditional blue shift of accelerating matter, the displacement drive created a momentary sphere of distorted spacetime that compressed the fabric of reality itself. When it dissipated, the fleet had traveled a distance that should have taken weeks to cross. On the bridge, Admiral Chen stood before the main viewport, hands clasped behind his back, as he observed the stars realigning themselves after the jump. "Displacement complete, Admiral," reported Commander Sofia Mendez, his executive officer. "All vessels accounted for and in formation. Nova Haven system in visual range." "Tactical assessment?" Chen asked. "Long-range scans show 5 Voidborn vessels still in orbit around Nova Haven. They appear to be salvage operations rather than combat vessels. No sign of the main fleet that conducted the initial attack." Chen nodded. "They didn't expect company so soon. Deploy reconnaissance drones and maintain stealth protocols. I want detailed scans of their technology before we engage." The sleek, unmanned drones launched silently from the Olympus, their advanced cloaking systems rendering them virtually undetectable as they approached the alien vessels. For hours, they transmitted data back to the fleet, detailed readings of the Voidborn ship's propulsion systems, energy signatures, and communication frequencies. In the fleet's tactical center, a team of analysts processed the information with the help of quantum computers, developing engagement strategies and countermeasures against Voidborn technology. "Their shielding uses a rotating frequency modulation," noted Dr. Eliza Ward, the fleet's chief science officer. "Similar to theories we've developed but never fully implemented. Their advantage isn't that their technology is fundamentally beyond ours. It's that they've had longer to perfect it." Chen studied the holographic models of Voidborn vessel anatomy and their weapon systems, primarily energy-based, with some exotic particle weapons we haven't encountered before. The good news is that our adaptive shielding should be able to analyze and counter their attack patterns in real time. And the bad news? Dr. Ward hesitated. They appear to have some form of consciousness-affecting technology. Based on Commander Reyes' experience at Nova Haven, they can establish direct neural links with human minds. We have no existing countermeasure for that. Chen's expression hardened. Then we'll need to ensure they don't get close enough to use it. What about survivors on the surface? We're detecting approximately 3,000 human life signs in scattered locations, Commander Mendez reported, mostly in underground shelters or remote outposts. The colony's main infrastructure has been destroyed, but there are people down there, Admiral. They're alive. Chen nodded, a rare flash of emotion crossing his face. Then let's make sure they stay that way. Status of the Voidborn vessels. They've detected our drones, Mendez replied, urgency in her voice. They're powering weapon systems and raising shields. They're about to announce our presence to their main fleet, Chen observed. We can't allow that. Battle stations. Prepare to engage. Throughout the Prometheus fleet, crews moved with practiced efficiency to their combat positions. Unlike the outdated systems used by colonial defense forces, these ships had been designed specifically for warfare against technologically advanced opponents. Their weapons were not adaptations of mining equipment or retrofitted defensive systems. They were purpose-built instruments of destruction. All ships report ready, Admiral, Mendez confirmed. Chen activated the fleet-wide communication channel. This is Admiral Chen. The enemy we face today attacked a peaceful human colony without provocation or warning. They believed humanity would be an easy target, a species they could subjugate through superior technology and force. Today, we will correct that misunderstanding." He paused, surveying the determined faces of his bridge crew. "Our primary objective is to neutralize the Voidborn presence and secure Nova Haven for rescue operations. Our secondary objective is to capture at least one enemy vessel intact for detailed analysis. But make no mistake, these aggressors have declared war on humanity. We will respond accordingly." Chen out. The Admiral turned to Commander Mendez. "Deploy the fleet in Maneuver Theta. Target the largest Voidborn vessel first." The Prometheus fleet moved with synchronized precision, spreading into a three-dimensional formation that would have been impossible for conventional vessels to maintain. As they accelerated toward Nova Haven, their advanced stealth systems finally dropped, revealing their presence to the Voidborn. The alien response was immediate but showed signs of surprise. Their vessels broke from orbit in a disorganized pattern, clearly unprepared for the human counterattack. Their communications erupted with signals, likely calls for reinforcement. "They're transmitting on multiple frequencies," reported the communications officer. "Long-range distress calls. Jam them," Chen ordered. "All frequencies." The Olympus targeted the largest Voidborn ship, its weapons systems locking onto the vessel's propulsion array. Unlike conventional weapons, the Prometheus fleet utilized graviton lens technology, concentrated beams that momentarily increased the gravitational force within a targeted area by a factor of thousands, crushing matter at the atomic level. "Fire," Chen commanded, his voice calm. The Olympus unleashed its primary weapon, the graviton lance cutting through space like an invisible scalpel. When it struck the Voidborn vessel's engines, the result was immediate and catastrophic. The alien ship's rear section imploded, collapsing in on itself as the fundamental forces of physics were temporarily rewritten in that small pocket of space. The remaining Voidborn vessels responded with coordinated fire, their energy weapons lashing out at the human fleet. Their targeting was precise, but they encountered something they clearly hadn't expected. The adaptive shields of the Prometheus vessels analyzed the incoming attack patterns in real time, adjusting their frequencies to counter each subsequent volley more effectively. "Shield effectiveness increasing," reported the tactical officer. "Their weapons are becoming less effective with each exchange." Chen nodded in grim satisfaction. "As expected, they rely too heavily on technological superiority. They haven't faced an adversary who could adapt." The battle unfolded with brutal efficiency as the human fleet demonstrated capabilities the Voidborn clearly hadn't anticipated. 3 alien vessels were disabled within minutes, their propulsion and weapons systems rendered inoperable by precision strikes. "Admiral," Mendez called out, "we're detecting a massive displacement signature at the edge of the system. Voidborn reinforcements." Chen studied the tactical display. "How many?" "At least 30 vessels, sir, much larger than the ones we're currently engaging." The Admiral's expression didn't change. "So they've called in their actual warships. Good. Deploy Phase 2 countermeasures and prepare for full engagement." Throughout the fleet, secondary systems activated, technology that even most of the crew hadn't known existed until this moment. Quantum entanglement disruptors, designed to interfere with the coordination of enemy vessels. Gravimetric distortion fields that would make accurate targeting nearly impossible for the approaching Voidborn fleet. "Sir," Dr. Ward interrupted, her voice urgent, "I've completed analysis of the Voidborn neural technology based on the Nova Haven data. It appears to operate on quantum resonance principles. It literally synchronizes with the quantum state of human consciousness." "Can we block it?" "Better," Ward replied with a grim smile. "We can reverse it. If we modulate our communications array to broadcast on the same frequency, we can establish a two-way connection. What they use to invade minds, we can use to access their systems." Chen considered this for only a moment. "Do it. Target their command vessel when it arrives." The Voidborn reinforcements emerged from hyperspace in a display of coordinated precision, their vessels immediately forming a battle formation that spoke of centuries of military tradition. At their center was a massive ship that dwarfed the others. Clearly, the command vessel. "They're hailing us," the communications officer reported with surprise. "On screen," Chen ordered. The view screen flickered, and for the first time, humanity saw the face of its enemy. The Voidborn commander appeared humanoid, but with distinct differences: skin with a faint luminescence, eyes too large and entirely black, and cranial structures that suggested a different evolutionary path entirely. "Your resistance is unexpected but futile," the alien's thoughts projected directly into the minds of the bridge crew, causing several to wince at the invasive sensation. "Your species advances too quickly, too recklessly. We are the Voidborn, guardians of cosmic balance. Your development must be controlled." Admiral Chen stood resolute, unaffected by the psychic intrusion. "This is Admiral Marcus Chen of the Terran Defense Fleet. You attacked a peaceful human colony without provocation. You murdered innocent civilians. You attempted to steal knowledge that humanity earned through centuries of work and sacrifice." He stepped closer to the view screen, his voice hardening. "We are not a species that requires guardianship. We are not a species that will accept subjugation. And we are definitely not a species that will allow the murder of our people to go unanswered." The Voidborn commander's expression shifted slightly. The alien equivalent of surprise, perhaps. "Your technology should not be this advanced. Our calculations indicated." "Your calculations were wrong," Chen interrupted. "A common failing of those who believe themselves superior is underestimating those they consider inferior. You judged humanity by a vulnerable colony. You should have waited to meet our fleet." Without waiting for a response, Chen cut the communication and turned to Dr. Ward. "Activate the quantum resonance countermeasure. Now." Throughout the Voidborn fleet, chaos erupted as the humans turned their own technology against them. The quantum resonance transmission penetrated their mental network, overloading the very system they had used to invade Commander Ray's mind on Nova Haven. "All vessels, engage at will," Chen commanded. "Target their weapons and propulsion systems. I want prisoners, not martyrs." The battle that followed would later be known as the Reckoning of Nova Haven. The Voidborn's technological edge was significant, but the Prometheus fleet had been designed specifically to counter advanced alien technology. More importantly, the human vessels were commanded by individuals who adapted their tactics in real time, while the Voidborn relied heavily on predetermined battle algorithms. It was not a quick victory. The Voidborn fought with determination and skill, their larger vessels absorbing tremendous damage before finally succumbing to the human assault. 3 Prometheus ships were lost, their crews sacrificing themselves to protect their companions and ensure ultimate victory. As the battle reached its climax, the Voidborn command ship attempted to retreat, its massive engines powering up for a jump to hyperspace. Chen had anticipated this. "Execute Maneuver Omega," he ordered. "Don't let them escape." The remaining Prometheus vessels coordinated their graviton lenses, focusing on a single point in space directly in the command ship's path. The combined beams created a temporary gravitational singularity, a miniature black hole that lasted only seconds but disrupted the precise calculations needed for a hyperspace jump. The Voidborn ship's engines flared wildly as it attempted to compensate, but the damage was done. Its hyperspace jump failed catastrophically, tearing a massive hole in its propulsion section and leaving it drifting helplessly in space. "They're disabled," Mendez reported, reading multiple system failures across their vessel. Chen nodded. "Prepare boarding teams. I want that ship secured." The human boarding parties, equipped with specialized armor designed to counter Voidborn weapons, encountered surprisingly little resistance. The quantum resonance attack had affected the aliens more profoundly than expected, leaving many incapacitated or disoriented. In the command center of the alien vessel, Admiral Chen came face to face with the Voidborn commander. The alien sat slumped in what appeared to be a control chair, its large eyes unfocused. This outcome was not predicted. The thought entered Chen's mind, "Weaker now. Your species should not have been capable." "That was your mistake," Chen replied aloud, "believing you could predict us. Humanity doesn't follow predictable patterns. We adapt. We overcome. We survive. Others will come," the Voidborn warned. "The ascendancy spans thousands of systems. This defeat means nothing in the greater conflict." "Then they'll meet the same fate," Chen replied without hesitation. "And they'll learn what you've learned, that humanity will not be controlled, will not be suppressed, and will not be underestimated." The admiral turned to his security team. "Secure the prisoner and all command staff. I want their navigational data and every scrap of intelligence we can extract from their systems." Within hours, the Nova Haven system was firmly under human control. Rescue operations began immediately, with teams descending to the surface to extract survivors from shelters and remote outposts. Among the first to be recovered were Dr. Maya Patel and Commander Elena Reyes, both of whom had continued organizing resistance, even after sending their desperate message to Earth. Chen met them personally in the Olympus's medical bay, where they were being treated for injuries sustained during the occupation. "You bought us the time we needed," he told them, genuine respect in his voice. "Your warning made this victory possible." Maya looked up at him, her eyes haunted by what she had witnessed, but burning with fierce determination. "What happens now, Admiral? The colony is destroyed. Our research is gone. Nova Haven will be rebuilt," Chen assured her. "Stronger than before. And your research? Well, some of it survived in backup systems. But more importantly, we've captured something far more valuable: direct access to Voidborn technology." Commander Reyes sat up slowly, wincing at the pain from her injuries. "They believed they were entitled to control our development, to decide our fate based on some cosmic balance they appointed themselves to maintain. A common belief among species that achieve technological superiority," Chen observed. "They forget that advancement isn't just about technology. It's about the will to use it, the courage to face obstacles, and the determination to overcome them. Humanity has never lacked in those qualities." As the Prometheus fleet secured the system and began the process of analyzing captured Voidborn technology, a new chapter in human history was being written. The data recovered from the alien vessels revealed the existence of a vast interstellar empire, the Voidborn Ascendancy, that had spent millennia controlling the development of younger species throughout the galaxy. Their attack on Nova Haven had been designed to limit humanity's expansion, to establish dominance early before humans could become a true competitor in galactic affairs. Instead, they had accomplished precisely the opposite. In the aftermath of the battle, the United Terran Council declared the formation of the Terran Alliance, a unified human government dedicated to protecting Earth and its colonies from external threats. The secrecy that had surrounded projects like Prometheus was lifted, and humanity collectively focused its considerable ingenuity on preparing for the greater conflict that surely lay ahead. 6 months after the Battle of Nova Haven, the newly commissioned TAS Phoenix, the first of a new generation of vessels incorporating recovered Voidborn technology, prepared for its maiden voyage. On its bridge stood Captain Maya Patel, her scientific expertise having proven invaluable in understanding alien systems. "Navigation systems ready, Captain," reported her first officer. Commander Reyes, fully recovered from her ordeal and now serving alongside her former colony companion. "Set course for Voidborn territory," Patel ordered, her voice firm with resolve. "It's time we introduced ourselves properly to the galaxy." As the Phoenix accelerated away from Earth, followed by a fleet of similar vessels, Admiral Chen watched from his orbital office. The gamble had paid off. Humanity hadn't just survived its first contact with a hostile advanced species. It had emerged stronger, more unified, and more determined than ever. The Voidborn had attacked a human colony believing they would encounter a primitive, disorganized species easy to subjugate. Instead, they had triggered humanity's wrath and awakened a sleeping giant that would reshape the balance of power throughout the galaxy. They had made a fatal error in their calculations. They had underestimated humanity's greatest strength. the unbreakable will to fight back against any force that threatened its freedom. And now, the stars themselves would bear witness to the consequences of that mistake.